friends, and welcome to another video from my series Quick Thoughts On, in which I always talk about different stories from the rich Star Trek universe. Last week CBS All Access published a new episode of the show Star Trek Picard. It was called Broken Pieces, and these are my honest opinions about it. Well, this one is at least kind of funny. This episode started, as always, with a flashback, this time to a system with 8 stars, which is a scientific nonsense, and we go to a planet where we see a bunch of female elves in Dracula cloaks. These are the heads of the Jatvash, the even secret organization, which is now, I guess, being run by women only. Why? But honestly, who cares? We see Commander O, who is the head of Starfleet Security. She still pretends that she's a Vulcan, and our psycho lady, aka Incest Sister, aka Agent Narek's sister, and a former Borg woman from a bunch of episodes ago. They stand in front of, something. Let's call it a green force field. Commander O informs them that some of them will go crazy, so why don't they just turn around and leave? Why do they have a ritual which turns some people crazy? But of course, they all touch it, and this is the first time I can complain about the camera work in this series. I have no clue what's going on, it's just a bunch of flashy images, the camera angles are crap, the image is distorted, and they cut away from everything slightly interesting. So one woman just grabs her phaser and shoots herself. Wait, why was one of them allowed to take a phaser and the others were not? The other one takes a rock and starts to bang her head into it, a different one starts to scratch her face, and when I have watched it the last Saturday morning, my reaction was, I'm out. And I switched it off and didn't come back to it. Later that day, however, I was informed that I shouldn't leave my house for at least 2 weeks, so this Monday I gave it another try. So I found out that my problem with this intro is basically this flashback sequence is everything what's wrong with the J.J. Abrams / Alex Kurtzman era of Star Trek. Nonsensical science, fake-looking CGI, crappy camera work, bad editing, flashy images with no substance, feminism instead of egalitarianism, bad character designs, bad costume designs, designs ripped off other properties, gruesome violence for no reason. If the women could only drop a few F-bombs and would show us some bad chip designs, it would have absolutely everything. But don't worry, these things will happen in this episode. And the worst thing, the producers and the writers think that they are actually doing a good thing. Whatever, only the 3 women we know survive, and we finally are told about the plot, so it looks like the Jatvash are paranoid lunatics who think that if artificial life gets too advanced, a destroyer will appear and destroy all life in the galaxy. Wow, this is such a new idea. I have never ever heard a thing like this in any other sci-fi movie, series or novel or superhero comic books. You are so original. So, what is their plan? O, who is apparently half Vulcan and half Romulan, will pretend that she is a Vulcan. She will infiltrate Starfleet. She will do such a great work that she will eventually become the head of Starfleet Security, where she will take the incest lady to work for her, and then she will somehow be responsible for reprogramming of the synthetics on Mars and force them to start killing people. As a reaction for that, Starfleet will ban all synths forever. Yes, this is their plan, I guess. So back in the present time, Picard introduces Soji to Rios and to Raffi, and this is where the comedy starts. Rios freaks out when he sees her, activates all holograms and locks himself in his quarters. And Raffi is even better. She tries to shoot her. Oh, she's so charming. But Picard wants to protect her with his own body, so Raffi changes her tone and informs him that Agnes is a Romulan agent who killed Bruce Maddox. And Picard, of course, has to be dumb, so he refuses to believe her for some reason. But when he talks to the holographic doctor, he starts to take it seriously. Finally, but he needs to chat in a holographic recreation of his chateau. Who is he talking to? Well, Admiral Sheer fucking Hubris from episode 2, I think. And she appears there as a full-body hologram. Why? What's wrong with a picture on a computer monitor? I mean, what's with modern Trek and its usage of absolutely nonsensical technology? Do you remember when every single piece of tech on Star Trek was practical and inspirational? Having a holographic broadcast to a different part of the galaxy is the most idiotic form of communication. Do they not understand the insane amount of data which would have to be projected? And for what reason? Also, she would have to be constantly informed about his position or his movement so that she could react properly. So if they are sitting behind a table, does it mean that she has an identical table and an identical chair in her office? I'm sorry if I'm nitpicking too much, but one of the first things I fell in love with in the original series were the cool tech gadgets. Oh, and she of course drops an F-bomb. This time it's not sheer fucking hubris, but shut the fuck up. And Picard claps like he thinks it's a good thing. Does Patrick Stewart have some weird fetish for women talking to him like this? Does he also want to be told that he's a bad boy or something? Meanwhile, on the Borg cube, Master Elrond from Rivendell called 7 of 9 to help him on the Borg cube. So they are doing something. I assume they are killing the Romulans, but it's shot in such a horrible way. Quick cuts, shaky cam, too dark to see anything, which makes something which could be an entertaining action scene something really boring. So to the only fun part of this episode, on the ship Raffi tries to talk to Rios, but she doesn't know at first that she's talking to the holograms. So we meet a gay Irishman who is the navigator, a technician who is of course a Scottish alcoholic, and a Catholic monk is taking care about her drinks. There is of course the Hispanic Jason Momoa, but we see him much later. I absolutely love the actor who plays all of these different characters on one show. It's really fun to watch, and he's delivering such a great performance that in the first episode we have seen him, I wasn't sure if he and his hologram are played by the same actor or two similar looking guys. Really great work. And this whole subplot in which Raffi is trying to find out what happened to Rios, why did he freak out when he has seen Soji, is pretty funny. Unfortunately, it's way too short and the episode cuts to the original tone, which I don't like. We see the real Rios drinking alone lying on his floor. Finally a character I can relate to. I spent way too many nights like this a bunch of years ago, and we unfortunately get to know his backstory. He was the first officer on a ship with an Arabic name which I don't care to remember. A few years ago they took two passengers, a male ambassador and his female partner. The man was called Beautiful Flower. I repeat, the man was called Beautiful Flower. That's so dumb that I have no clue what to say about it. That's a new level of stupid which I wasn't prepared to deal with, to be honest. The girl's name was Jana or Jana, which is a common Slavic name, which is pretty weird because all of these robotic women have kind of Indian sounding names. And what do I mean with these women? Well, she looked exactly like Soji and Dash, meaning another one of the androids. Oh, sorry, android is a slur now or something? I meant synthetics. The captain killed them during the food. When Rios had problems with it, the captain claimed it was a direct order from Starfleet and that they threatened to destroy the whole ship if he won't do it. Because yeah, that's a normal thing for Starfleet to request, right? Rios yelled at him, so the captain did the only reasonable thing, he blew his brain out. So Rios, as a good first officer, got rid of all the bodies and resigned from Starfleet the next day. It sounds really stupid, but in the context of this series it makes perfect sense, so I'm not really complaining. Picard bonds with Soji and he says that he loved Data. Sorry for my F-bomb, but what the fuck? Yes, I know that love can have different meanings. It doesn't have to be romantic love, but in any of those meanings, Picard didn't love Data. I find it really weird when a man loves a machine. I'm glad I have my computer, but I don't love it. It's so freaking weird. Back on the Borg cube, the Romulan agent lady starts with cleaning up the Borg cube, and she starts with killing the ex-Borgs, who are Romulans. As in, they are not Borg anymore, they are Romulans. And her motivation is that she wants to rescue Romulans. So she is going to rescue Romulans by killing other Romulans. Sorry, I don't get it. 7 of 9 and Elrond get to the Queen Chamber where 7 does stuff. That's the best way how to describe it. She does stuff. What is she doing? That's what Elrond asked her to, by the way. Hello, show. What about explanations? I never thought I'd say this, but god, I miss Voyager's technobabble. So, meanwhile the evil lady decides to, I don't know, open the cube. I had no clue that the cube can be just opened like that. Why? This looks like a very serious design flaw, which should not exist in something created by cyborgs. So she blows them to space. Why exactly? Did the writer forget that the Borg can survive in space? I mean, the writers had to have watched First Contact, since this show is clearly influenced by it, right? So my standard question. Why? Back on the ship, Picard tells Agnes that she will be arrested, but other than that she can move on the ship like nothing happened. Wow. So after explaining to everybody the plot of this series, Soji gets angry and she tries to kidnap the ship, but Rios has a few tricks and gets control back. The evil Romulan lady gets ambushed by a bunch of, I don't know, ex-Borgs, I guess. They catch her, pick her up, spread her legs and keep touching her. I have seen enough porn in my life to know where this is going, but before I manage to unzip my pants, she gets beamed out. Back on the hero ship, Picard sits down and wants to drive the ship, then he freezes and tells that he doesn't know how to operate this equipment. And I assume that it's supposed to be funny, but I find the scene to be really sad, because it is a nice metaphor for Sir Patrick Stewart's current state. They go to a Borg transwarp tunnel, followed by a small Romulan ship, probably Narek or his sister or both, and the confusing mess of an episode ends. Writing really bad. It doesn't surprise me that it was written by Chabon. The F-bombs and the messy structure give it away immediately. I am very grateful for this episode because it is a wonderful example of all things wrong with modern Trek, and I plan to summarize it all when the series ends. Directing, horrible. The worst directed episode so far in my opinion. The directing is so bad it looks like a Discovery Season 1 episode. Editing, equally bad, especially during what was supposed to be action scenes, but there are some nice character moments. We finally get a scene with Picard in a show called Picard. The subplot on the ship is pretty fun to watch, and the actor delivers a great performance as every one of the characters. These scenes are the highlight of this episode and belong to my favorite scenes from the whole series, which is pretty sad. And Overall, on my standard scale from 0 to 10, where 0 is complete garbage, 10 is a masterpiece, and 5 is just average, I would give this episode 6 out of 10. But as always, these are just my opinions. Let me know what did you think about this episode down in the comment section, and see you very soon, hopefully tomorrow, in worst case Monday. Thanks a lot for watching, bye.